It is February 12th, 2024.
And it's a Sunday.
It's 2023.
Why did they say 2024? Oh, God. Oh, great start. Yeah, it is a Sunday.
You're a year
It's
early.
a Sunday.
Before we get into our David Lynch episode, we kind of hinted at that in the beginning there. Do you want to shout out anything you've seen recently?
Yeah. Let me check my letterbox.
We saw Goodfellas. Oh, yeah.
I've seen Goodfellas before, but this is my second time seeing it. And I'm older now, so I feel like I have different opinions on it. I don't want to talk too much about it because I feel like it's such
Yeah.
there's so much to say and you're going to talk about it next time, but,
Yeah.
great movie. I saw the first Lord of the Rings again. I actually, it was pretty cool. I saw it with a friend at Radio City Music Hall. They had Radio City Music Center. Is it center or hall? Radio City Music Hall.
Hall.
They had the Fellowship of the Ring, and they had a 238-piece orchestra playing the score there. It was sick.
Oh, really? The whole movie?
The whole
That's
movie.
sick.
Yeah, and the movie was playing, and the orchestra was under it.
Yeah. How was that? Is that like, does it really like change the experience a lot?
It was really cool.
I wanted to do one for like Star Wars. They'd had one in like around Red Bank a long time ago,
Oh, cool.
but I wasn't able to go.
But this was like, I've seen like smaller ones. Remember, Ethan, I sent you one for like, they had like a Charlie
For
Chaplin
silent
one.
film.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw A Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Oh,
before.
that's the Will Ferrell
And
one?
I
Yeah.
wanted Lily to see it because it's like a bad movie,
It's
but
so bad,
so
but it's so
I
funny.
think it's so fun.
I feel like it's like a Zoolander thing, right? Is it like that type of stuff?
Yeah, but I think it's like even worse received than
It has an
worse.
11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yikes.
It's not like a good movie, but it's fun. Two more. We saw Hubble with a Shotgun.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Well, you fell asleep.
Yeah, I don't even know how I fell asleep during that movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like it's a
horror movie.
recurring thing.
Have you? Yeah.
I fall asleep so
Oh,
easily.
I'm guilty of it too at home.
So bad.
I'm usually I don't fall asleep during movies.
Really?
I'm able to keep myself.
I wanted to ask you before we'll get to it, but I wanted to ask you about American Movie too. What do you thought about the ending of
I fall
that?
asleep during that.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
Twice.
twice.
Yeah.
You
No,
tried it
really
twice.
Yeah.
What did you think about it though?
I guess I fell asleep because I watched it. So
Wait, you
late
didn't
and it's
finish
dry.
it?
No, I did.
Okay,
But it's so dry. It's very dry. I liked it
Yeah,
a lot, obviously.
yeah.
But no, it was great. I liked the whole thing.
it's all right. It's okay.
Okay, it's-
Jesus,
Jesus
told
told
you
you
so.
so. Yeah,
It's the
that's right.
first. It's the first line in Coven. It's great. Yeah.
I do want to see Coven now.
I think
So have you heard of Hubble with a Shotgun?
I have heard of it. I don't know anything about
It was
this,
mental.
though.
It was like mental, like
Really?
just screaming. So the town is called like Hell Town or like Crazy Town or something. And those,
Lazy Town.
I remember Lazy Town.
Sporticus.
So there's
Yeah.
just like this guy with a shotgun, this old guy, and he's a hobo. He's trying
Yeah.
to like be a good guy in the city, but everyone in the city is like bad.
Everyone is bad in the city.
He's like a vigilante.
Yeah, but he's
Right.
good. He's the
He's
only good
good?
person in the city, pretty much.
He
And
thinks
him-
he's the only good.
No, he is
No,
though.
he is.
And there's just
Okay.
like one girl who's good too, but
Okay.
everyone else in the city is like crazy, and they all like worship the
Is it
leader.
like a comedy?
No, I mean kind of.
It's kind. I think
Really?
It's
Yeah, it's kinda-
but
it's
it's
like a
like
black
not really.
comedy.
It's like a black comedy.
comedy.
They
I
worship
like
this
that.
leader called the Drake, and he's like the leader of this town, and he's like
Okay.
crazy, and he has like these two, his sons are his henchmen, and they
Uh-huh.
they say ridiculous lines like "I'm gonna fuck you," and
Kind
like
of like David Lynch, honestly.
yeah, it's kind of
David
like
Lynch? Really?
they just like shout a bunch of like
Well, the characters.
very
that are
vulgar like catchphrases.
Well, I mean, with a title with Hobo with a Shotgun, I expect to be like a little bit schlocky
It's
and a little
extremely
bit like.
schlocky and vulgar, but it's a good time.
How'd you find out about it?
Well, it has it's like very stylish. It has like an '80s soundtrack. Like it's like it's like my cup of tea.
Okay.
Last one, Cachet.
I didn't see that.
Cachet was you've heard of Michael Haneke?
No.
Have you heard of Funny Games?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he
yeah,
made
okay.
that.
He
It's
made
like-
both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie was about Lily. Remember, it was the one where it was kind of like it's funny actually. We're talking about this because it's kind of like Lost Highway. It starts with
Really?
the videotapes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So this is a movie about like a Parisian couple who there's somebody recording them, similarly to Lost Highway, but this kind of goes down like a political route about like, I don't know, it's like way more political than Lost Highways, and it kind of ends in a different spot, but it is a very good thriller. Acting's great, cinematography is great, and it's just like really well done. I don't know, I don't have a whole ton to say about it, but it's a good movie, and I highly recommend it.
All right. Are you ready? You ready for Lynch?
Yep. This
The
is
best
my,
of your life.
this is
I
my,
know this is gonna be a
this
big
was
one.
my big birthday episode.
If you don't know, Justin is a big David Lynch fan. Ever since I met him, honestly.
Yeah.
I guess we can start with, what is your relationship with David Lynch? Do you
Alright.
know him? Do you talk to him
I'll get
often?
into it. So David Lynch. All right, so I feel like my personality really started developing at like, okay, I'm 23.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're filming this for my birthday, and
Mhm.
Lily's gonna do Almodovar because she wants to talk about his movies. But I think like 10 years ago, like when I was like 13, maybe, is when I watched Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah.
And that movie kind of introduced me. I mean, that movie is like art house, but it's also like mainstream. So that was kind of like my gateway drug into like more like artsy cinema. And then I was like, I went in the rabbit hole, like, oh, like what's like the weirdest movie I can watch?
Mhm.
Then,
Wait, after you watched Drive, you looked up what's the weirdest movie I could
yeah,
watch.
and I think like a week or two later, I saw Eraserhead. So it was like a double, it was
Wow.
like a crazy,
Yeah.
like two of my favorite movies ever. So, and I remember my dad briefly mentioning Eraserhead as like a joke because he's seen it when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He grew up in New York, and I played, here for years. And he just always talked about it being like a weird movie. But have you heard of Basket Case?
That's the one with like this little monster in
Yeah.
the basket.
So my
yeah,
dad
it's
always like jokes around about like Basket Case and Eraserhead as just being like oddball movies, but
they're two very different
Yeah, 'cause
movies, though.
Basket Case
yeah,
is schlocky,
Basket
where
Case is
Eraserhead
is
is like
more of
a-
a straightforward
just-
horror movie.
and it's like trashy. It's fun,
It has its
but-
fans. It has its fans. I've
No,
never
I'm
seen it.
not,
I've
like,
never
shitting
seen
on
it,
I think
but
it looks cool, but
yeah,
it's like,
it's not. It's not
silly.
like an experimental movie or anything like that.
So I didn't really. When my dad said like compared it to Basket Case, kind of I was, like he always talked about it in the same vein. So I didn't know.
I
what to
mean,
expect.
they both have weird puppet
That's true.
like creatures. You know what I mean?
So I saw Eraserhead, and I was like completely.
Yeah.
I got like
Blown away.
My 13-year-old mind was like, "This is like the greatest thing I've ever seen." I
Did
was
you
like,
say you watched it in the basement like late?
Yeah,
at night?
actually the first time I saw it, I couldn't finish it. I was too
Really?
creeped out. Yeah, you've been. I mean,
Yeah.
my old house.
The
And
basement.
Basement. It's like all dark.
Popcorn,
It's
yeah.
like a dungeon down there.
Yeah, it can get really
It gets
scary
creepy
down
alone
there.
at night.
I saw
And-
salad fingers
Salad
down there. That was pretty.
But I don't know. As a 13-year-old boy, like, and I'm not. Horror movies don't really scare me.
Uh-huh.
Like paranormal stuff, or because I feel like it feels fake to me, or like I've seen it 100 times. Eraserhead felt like a
nightmare.
like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And being that young, I was like, I just feel like I've never been exposed to anything like that. It was like a complete shock.
It puts you in like a weird mood.
Put me in a weird headspace.
Yeah.
So then
It kind of puts you in a creeped out mood.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like
Not like a scared mood, but you just feel like
freaked out,
weird
yeah.
after. Like
now I don't.
Yeah.
But
I
so
can see it why you.
I
would,
saw it again the next day or a day after or something, and I finished it. I watched it from beginning to end, and
We started to show everyone it,
and then I started
Yeah.
recommending it to everyone.
Everyone
Yeah.
I
knew.
was like, I was
including
like,
me.
I didn't know that like movies could be this.
Yeah.
So
Shout out
then I-
Inkwell. Rip Inkwell.
Oh yeah, Inkwell.
Well, Inkwell had
Rip
the
Inkwell, but shout
Well,
out
it's this little
Inkwell.
like
Inkwell had the
Parisian place in New Jersey, little cafe.
yeah, it was a little
restaurant.
old cafe
Having a Eraserhead
in
poster.
Long Branch.
Justin took a picture.
I took a
in front of
picture
it.
next to because
Yeah,
You know what? That will probably be the
cover
cover
for
of
this.
the cover for this.
when I went
so.
there, I saw the picture. I was like, oh, I've never I didn't know people like know what this movie is.
Yeah.
Because obviously now I know it's like so popular, but I was like 13 and like
Uh-huh.
everybody in my
It
school
felt
was
cool.
like
Yeah, it
into,
felt
like,
cool
the
thinking
Avengers.
that like
And
yeah,
nobody
yeah.
so I didn't know anybody who knew this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny.
Um,
We did The Shining. There's also a Shining poster there.
Is there?
too.
Okay. So I started recommending it to everyone, and then I did a deep dive into his filmography. After
Mhm.
that, I saw it pretty much.
What's the second one you seen? I'm just curious.
You erased the picture.
I think it was Mulholland Drive.
I
And
still have it.
And then maybe the
I took a screenshot before.
maybe the Elephant Man was 3, something like that.
Yeah.
No, Blue Velvet. I don't really remember honestly, but
Have you seen all his movies?
yeah, I've seen all of them besides A Straight Story.
That's the Disney.
Yeah, that's the
one,
only reason I
right?
haven't seen it. But
I heard it's
I
one of
hear
his
it's one of
best
his
best
best.
films.
Yeah,
so,
I hear
and-
it's actually
but I
really
heard
good.
it's like it's the
and I'll see
it's
it.
most
of course.
optimistic
I'll definitely
film.
see it.
Yeah.
But
I haven't seen Elephant Man.
oh,
I
she
haven't
hasn't
seen that one
yet.
either. I haven't seen a few of them.
Oh, so yeah, we tried to go to this. He had a festival of disruption. He had this film and music festival in Brooklyn and California, I think. But there was one in Brooklyn a couple of years ago, and like Phoebe Bridgers and like some other like artists were playing there. Like it was like a Lynchian type,
Oh, okay, that's cool.
and he ran it, so it was very Lynch themed. But it fell through like the day of they canceled it for some reason.
Oh, really? Oh,
But
But we already and we got like a hotel and
They
everything.
they did
Oh.
they kept one thing open. It was a
Uh-huh.
screening of Mulholland Drive.
Okay.
and Justin Theroux was there, one of the actors in the
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, so I pretty much and then I'm a musician too, and so all of my that is influenced by him. He's probably the biggest influence in my life. There's always someone out there who's like just really speaks to you, and I feel like with you is like you're a big guy with Tarantino, and maybe no, it's PTA.
Yeah. I mean, speaks to you in his films or speaks to you as a creative?
Just as a creative, I mean, obviously his films really speak to me. I mean, I like.
Because you like him as you watch like all his
Oh
interviews.
yeah, I'm
and,
obsessed with like he always has this.
He has a
quote.
persona to it,
Yeah.
though. Like it's kind of a brand, you
But
know?
it's a brand, but it's not a persona to me because it's
Too genuine.
too genuine
Yeah.
to call it a persona. But he
He has to be playing it up a little bit. Come on,
maybe
man.
yeah, you know,
He's,
he does.
He's definitely
he does.
playing it up a little bit, and
But,
he
like,
knows.
his
He knows what
voice
he is.
and,
Yeah.
you know, I really want to do transcendental meditation. That's like his whole thing. I
Really?
don't know if you know about that.
What does he do?
He has his own like meditation foundation called the David Lynch Foundation,
Okay.
and he's like trying to get this form of meditation out there to like people who can't like afford it. You have to like pay for it normally. And it's called
expensive.
transcendental
It's like
meditation.
$1,000.
What does it entail? What do you do?
We don't really know because you're not supposed to
You're not
know
supposed to give it away.
because it's like that's what you're going to learn. So
Oh.
it's not like one you could just practice in your house normally.
So why
like
can't you
most
just-
meditations,
yeah.
you just close your eyes, either put a guided
What-
video on or
what-
just listen to some ambient music. You have to like learn a skill with this. I
What
heard
do you
it
mean? What does that mean?
Like,
like
so they
it's
give
related to a
you
mantra.
they give you like a
Sounds like, I don't know. It sounds kind of BS to me. Like just like
it feels kind of like a pyramid scheme a little
But
bit. like,
yeah,
when
that's
you
what
look
it
at the
sounds
videos
like.
about it.
That's why he wants it for free, right?
Well,
like,
he's trying to make it for free.
They
but
basically
how does he
give
know
you,
it's a
like-
real thing?
Well,
you know?
he studied
There's like
it
a lot of
himself.
people
Studied
that say
himself? Okay.
there's a lot of people that say that it changed their life.
He
Which
says-
again, it sounds kind of like a pyramid scheme,
It
but
does. It does.
It's
He says
interesting.
that it opened his consciousness. Like,
Really?
I've seen so many videos and talk about how like
Here's the
he
thing with
explains
yeah.
it, and he gets in depth too, but how it's like human consciousness is like small, but if you like understand how to meditate in this way and like
It will change your life.
it'll like open your brain capacity in this way, and it's pretty
It
interesting.
says that you like act different after like
Really?
You have like a more
Oh, he definitely
You have,
does
like, an
act
open
different,
mind
so I
more
believe
so.
that. My thing with meditation is like I feel like you just have to find your own way of doing it. Everyone has
Yeah.
a different way of
a
doing
lot
it.
of celebrities do
Can't-
this one. Like Katy Perry does it, and Russell Brand, and
Really?
Ringo Starr does it from the Beatles.
Is it like where is it based off?
There's, like,
What's its origins?
Maharashi.
Okay.
You've heard of him?
No, yeah, but
Oh.
I figured that's where it's from. Because I did heard like the Beatles also doing something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. He was like this guru.
They have-
Yeah,
they
after
have
the
them
White Album,
everywhere.
they did after. I mean, before the White Album, they went
like
to like
this
that.
60s guy
they have
Yeah.
places to do it like in New Jersey and like
in New York.
New York.
I've been wanting to do it for years. I haven't done it, but I
Mhm.
want to. So anyway, I love David Lynch. I love
Yeah.
all of his movies. I love everything about him, and I think he's an artist too. He liked his paintings.
It's shocking how mainstream and popular he is if you just
Yeah.
look at his films and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's crazy how influential he is and how many people admire him.
Yeah, because he's so weird.
Yeah, and
His
and
stuff
right
is
from the
so weird.
start, like Eraserhead, you go from Eraserhead, you go from Elephant Man,
Yeah.
which is like nominated for an Oscar,
Yeah.
his second
It's like
film.
like multiple, like 7 Oscars. I
Yeah,
think.
like crazy. And then gets right after that gets offered Return of the Jedi.
yeah, I know that's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Made George Lucas seem like a crazy
I
person.
know. I saw that. the video, yeah.
He's like, he took me in his convertible and he started talking about the Ewoks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is an Ewok?
But then he,
I could just picture him saying that.
yeah, but then he has like weird shit in his.
Yeah,
movies,
like
so
he's
it's
just he's saying like little teddy bears from outer space is like such a weird concept.
Yeah,
or
but he
something
has like
that.
rabbits, like obviously
Yeah.
in Empire.
But what's weird about it is he passes down that, but he decides to make Dune,
Dune,
which is
yeah.
a big budget. Honestly, I wish he made Star Wars.
But-
That would have been
But
crazy.
Dune is more like a little more grounded than Star Wars is, though. I think.
Yeah, and he started like he's adapting it.
Yeah.
If he did Star Wars, he
Like,
has to build
follow-
off. He has to
yeah.
follow the same tone
Mhm.
of the previous films. I haven't seen Dune. You don't like it? Have you seen the whole thing?
Dune, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Um,
I love David Lynch. I love all of his movies that I've seen, but besides Dune,
what makes it like so?
But he disowns it really. He says that. I think. I mean, he's getting old now, but I think
Yeah.
he's gonna do one more movie because he's
Mhm.
done 10 already,
Yeah,
and a lot of directors want to end at 10, so that's why he probably
Yeah.
hasn't done one. But I feel like really doesn't count Dune as his movie. He disowned it. He said that like studio meddling and stuff made it not the movie he wanted to make, and he feel
Mhm.
like he didn't have full creative control. And he watching his masterclass and a bunch of things that he says, he always says final cut and creative control like the most important
Most
things,
important
especially
thing,
after
yeah.
the experience of making
with
Dune.
Dune.
Speaking of Dune, just a little bit.
Mhm.
I know this is Lynch, but I really wish Jodorowsky made Dune.
Yeah, you mentioned on the other
Yeah.
podcast. I gotta still watch that documentary. He seems like a very he would do anything for his film. You know?
Who? Jodorowsky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could blow up fucking turtles.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that until I read something about it.
Right? It was
Yeah, it
like
was
the
real
Yeah, I
turtles.
didn't know about that
Which is
about the Holy
terrible,
Mountain.
obviously.
Yeah.
Justice for Turtles.
I would like never watch or support a new movie that has
Yeah,
that.
but it's an older
like,
movie. It's
so
already
It's-
happened.
yeah.
I'm not trying to like cancel him or whatever,
Yeah.
but it is kind of insane.
Oh, it's
I mean,
terrible. I mean, for the turtles.
We
And
talked
That
about
would never
Friday the-
happen now, though.
we talked
No.
about Friday the 13th. They kill an actual snake in that.
Oh, I saw
It's
that.
terrible. And then after that, he makes Blue Velvet,
Yeah.
which is like I feel like is his really when he starts becoming his own thing. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I
You
think
know
so
what I
too.
mean?
Well, like to me, if you watch, Elephant Man, you'll
Yeah.
see a lot of Eraserhead in it.
But
Wait,
it
what
was all
came
it was
first?
produced.
What came
It was
first?
Elephant Man.
No, Eraserhead's the
Oh.
first movie.
Oh yeah, Eraserhead.
Yeah.
But like Elephant Man was like produced by Mel Brooks. It was a studio
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You know,
But
like
it's
that.
still very Lynch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
it's definitely his most studio.
I'm curious to
movie.
see that one because I love the cinematography
Oh, yeah.
in Eraserhead, and it's the same black and white
Yeah.
feel.
But to
So-
me, yeah, like you said, Blue Velvet's really like all of his movies after Blue Velvet feel like in that vein. I feel like even though Eraserhead is like the David Lynch movie, if you want to see one that really defines all of his movies, I feel like Blue Velvet is a
Velvet.
good place to go.
Yeah, I agree. What he made after that? Twin Peaks, right? Right after that. Wild at Heart
no,
and-
Wild
was
at
in,
Heart.
Twin
Wild
Peaks
at
was in the
Heart.
90s.
Yeah.
Wild at Heart, then Twin Peaks, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Then the Twin Peaks movie.
I read
then
that
Lost
they
Highway.
booed him off in Wild at Heart. They they walked out.
He won the.
He won the
he
Palme
won
d'Or,
the
but
Palme
there was a
d'Or.
few people that
Oh.
did not like it.
Oh.
Are we talking about Twin Peaks on this podcast?
Sure, we can. We're
we
just
can go
going
into
over
it a
his
little
whole
bit, yeah.
career, honestly, right now. We're here. Twin Peaks, 1990. So
I just think it's weird because it was like a mainstream show.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I can't
Like-
even imagine watching it when it first came
Well,
out. Like, are you
it didn't-
excited for Twin
You
Peaks?
guys know about the viewing parties?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Oh, your stepdad.
My stepdad would go to viewing parties like every weekend or whatever when
For
Twin
Twin
Peaks.
Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
Ah,
but he
that
doesn't
seems
even
so
he
cool.
doesn't like weird
Well, because it
like,
wasn't a weird.
it
It
wasn't
was
like
the-
popular.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me why like I don't get why it was
How it got
popular.
popular?
Like I
Well,
don't get why
I
it was
know
so
why,
popular.
because it was the first
was
really
TV.
non-serialized show too.
What do you mean?
Episodic.
Sorry, like one episode is like all you need to watch. Where with Twin Peaks, it was an ongoing story.
Yeah, like
So this was the beginning of like
it was
an
like one of the
ongoing...
first. It was
one of the
Really?
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first
I didn't know
ones.
That's why it was so influential.
Yeah.
And people would tune in to find out who killed Laura Palmer every
That's
week.
that's
Yeah.
where I feel like
It was the hook.
And if you
so
think
the
about
90s is when that started.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
You would-
there was always TV shows that see, catch in next week to see what happens on
Yeah.
blah
Yeah,
blah
but it was
blah.
very small.
But it was
scale,
it's different. It's in a different way, and it's long form television as well.
Well, he
Yeah,
did
that
a
they-
great job of like making it weird, but like
Yeah, it was
also
still
not
it's
Still
too weird.
still
mainstream.
mainstream enough to.
Yeah, but then the scenes where they're in the
But you
the
can
Red
see,
Room
the
but
Red
you can see,
Room.
okay, but you can see someone walking in on them watching Twin Peaks, and no one will bat an eye most
no,
of the
yeah,
time.
but because on the
But if you're-
surface
if-
it's normal,
Yeah,
but like
if someone walks in on you watching like Eraserhead, or like some parts of Blue Velvet, or like Lost Highway, they might like
Anything else pretty
Yeah, yeah.
much.
Afterwards, we have the movie
Twin
too.
Peaks movie.
Hadn't seen it
Yeah,
yet. Hadn't
that's
seen all of
honestly-
Twin Peaks.
The Twin
Ooh,
Peaks
the Twin
movie's
Peaks movie's
honestly
really
underrated.
really
good.
good.
Yeah, I heard it's
really,
underrated.
Really, really good.
It's okay. Honestly, one of the scariest horror movies ever.
Uh huh.
In my
Really?
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that and Lost Highway are like his most.
Have you seen
Horrifying
like El
films.
Camino, the Breaking
Yeah,
Bad?
the Breaking Bad.
It's like you know how people say like that's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. It's like
yeah. It's like a kind
It's
of.
not just, like,
spin-off.
yeah, it's like kind of a spinoff,
But
and it's just like
really integral.
Is it? It's its
It's
own
a prequel.
thing.
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
And
Oh,
it-
okay.
And it feels like Twin Peaks, but it's so much darker.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's
It's like-
exact. That's so
it's
true.
Weird.
That's why people hated it at first, because all the
Yeah.
fans of Twin Peaks were like, "Oh, there's like
And then it's
whimsical
more, but
TV
you
show."
Figure,
and the
you
movie's
figure,
like
is the movie
not
like a
for the fan-
finale to the show?
It's the
And then the return is kind of like a.
so
Yeah.
the movie's a prequel to the
Uh-huh.
show, and the return is the sequel.
Okay. But like
But you should
It's
watch
weird.
it in that order.
But the
the
show,
show,
The show, the
first two
movie.
seasons, the movie.
You should watch it in the order it was released.
Okay, yeah.
No, but season 3 was better, the best thing of all of it.
Really?
I think season 3 of Twin Peaks is my favorite thing that David Lynch has done.
I mentioned Wild Heart before, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's super underrated, and I think it's one of his better movies. Actually, it's him really like shit posting, and I really
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
a lot.
To me, the best scene is when he sings like that Elvis song. There's a
Yeah.
documentary that just came out. It's called like I don't remember the name of it. But it's like Lynch. It's like about the Wizard of Oz's influence on David Lynch. I haven't seen it
yeah.
yet, but I'm very curious. I don't even know if it's out yet.
I mean, might sound weird, but it is kind of like Lynchy and like how weird
It is. I
like,
was thinking that
yeah,
too.
Wizard
It's
of
like
Oz is, you know.
it definitely is.
Very dreamlike. It is a dream. Literally a
Oh, it
dream.
is
the
a
whole
dream,
movie.
yeah.
It makes
Well, I guess
sense.
that's
Especially
Yeah.
that like tornado scene where
that helps
Yeah.
with why it's so like influential. And also
Yeah.
it's like very obviously you've seen like Mulholland Drive and in the
Small-
Empire.
small-
It's
yeah.
very Technicolor and like
Yeah.
old
I need to
Hollywood.
see that movie again, and I
Yeah.
haven't
Which
seen
one?
Wizard
Wizard
of
of
Oz.
Oz?
I saw it when I was so
Classic's
young.
great.
I want to see it in theaters.
That'd
be
really
be
fun.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, probably one of the first movies I remember watching. And then after that, he kind of takes a break. Doesn't make a movie for like 5 or 6 years.
No. Well, let me say like
After
After
Fire
what?
Walk with Me, which was I think it was 92.
no Lost Highway's 97.
Yeah, 5 or 6
5
years.
years.
Well, first off, this is our first movie we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do
We'll do Lost Highway,
it's
Mulholland
like
Drive.
L.A. I call it
Yeah.
like his L.A. trilogy because they all take place in L.A. and kind of
They all
revolve
have
around, like,
similar themes.
These make great companion pieces, similar themes like we said, but like to me, a lot of the themes in Lost Highway were perfected in
Yeah.
Mulholland Drive, but so it was like, but then he kind of followed those themes up more in an Empire,
Yeah.
but completely with just a stream of consciousness type way. So it's
Mm.
kind of an interesting like
Thought process. Like
Yeah.
interesting take on like the same idea.
yeah. I'm at your house right now.
We can start with the plot.
Yeah.
Plot in quotations.
Yeah.
Bill Pullman plays a fucking baller saxophone player.
Wait, that saxophone scene's
Dude,
fire.
the saxophone scene is intense and it's
That's what
fire.
I'm talking about cinematic.
And I love his fit that he has on.
Yeah.
The all black. Really cool guy.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
sure why
I
his
mean-
wife treats him like shit.
Okay, but is he cool though? He might have done something.
Oh yeah, he might have
I
done
forgot
something.
so much about this movie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Lily's seen it with me.
I just
but
When was
it
the last time
so-
you saw it, Lily?
It was like 5 years ago.
5 years?
Like I really and
Still
I was
in high
young.
school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
know
I
he
like.
showed
I
it
feel
to
like if
me.
I watched it now, I would, number
It would
one,
tell-
I would like it more, and
Uh-huh.
two, I just I forget a lot from this movie. Like I've seen.
You remember
Yeah,
this
yeah.
movie a
well,
lot.
I've seen
yeah.
it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's only seen it once. When I first introduced her to Lynch, I feel like she liked him, but like maybe like would appreciate all of his stuff.
I think I
more
would like
now.
all of his stuff more now, like
Yeah.
rewatching it.
Oh.
But I
like,
really
bes-
liked Eraserhead, and I really,
Besides
really
Mulholland
liked.
Drive, because she's seen that twice.
Yeah, I
And
remember a lot of.
yeah,
I remember
or
all
3
of
times
Mulholland
even.
Drive.
What are your general thoughts on like Lost
Lost
Highway?
Highway.
Just like, when was the first time you watched it?
So when I
don't
first
think-
saw it, it was after Mulholland Drive, I think, and it was like really cool because I love Mulholland Drive so much, and it was like it felt like a sister film to Mulholland Drive, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe darker and like not darker in a thematic way, but like more like
This has a more
Eerie, like, rock and
sinister metal
metal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
thing.
Yeah.
Like the character, he's like a greaser,
yeah.
biker dude,
Well,
kind
like-
of a riff on like.
Well, we should.
Okay.
David Lynch loves a character
Okay,
that's like.
I
that.
wanted to
because-
bring up a few things that David Lynch loves. He loves curtains.
Lynch
He
loves-
loves he loves lamps.
Yeah.
He loves women.
prostitutes.
He loves prostitutes. He loves women getting into car crashes.
Yeah. Okay.
He loves
Um,
greaser bikers.
He
Yeah, he
likes the
does,
bikers.
Even in Twin Peaks, James.
Yeah, James. Yeah.
And he likes the word fucker a lot.
Yeah, he does. I mean, spoilers. These are all old movies. So
Yeah. I suggest you should watch these movies because you will not understand anything we're talking
Yeah,
about.
it
if
just
you
doesn't
don't.
matter.
This doesn't.
Spoilers. Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this couple starts getting videotapes in like their house
Yeah.
that
Played by
they're
Patri-
receiving them.
Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette.
Yeah. Shout out. She's in Dream Warriors.
And she's also in she's on she's on good things.
Yeah.
Boyhood. They get these videotapes of themselves,
Mm.
pretty much, and then they have fights, and he has like this jazz thing going on. But what's really interesting is that
Yeah.
the movie doesn't. I mean, you think that this is who it's gonna follow for the majority of the movie, and then it
doesn't.
just kind of turns. I also feel like it obviously is about things and themes and stuff, but it also is just like a journey. To me, what this movie is, again, I think Mulholland Drive perfected the themes in this movie, so I prefer it. But
Mhm.
this movie has some amazing scenes that I will never ever forget. It's a great movie as a whole, but like to me, when I think of this movie, I pick out certain scenes.
Certain scenes, like the I'm
Like-
your home scene.
Like again, yeah,
Yeah.
that phone call scene is like one of the greatest scenes like ever.
I remember you showing it to me
Like years ago?
like years ago in high school.
The Mystery Man is such a good character.
I love his video camera.
His video camera, yeah, he's creepy. I mean the it's
His
a
performance?
weird performance, yeah.
Yeah. Did you like any other performance? Did you like
Oh.
perform-
I like Bill Pullman. I like Brothers Gargetti, but to me, I think Patricia Arquette's really great.
Mm.
And another scene. I mean, the saxophone scene we already talked
Yeah.
about. But to me, my favorite scene of the whole movie, and maybe my like, it's probably my second favorite Lynch scene ever, was in this movie. And I'll talk about my first favorite next. but
Yeah.
my
I think I
second-
know what it is.
Wait, really?
I do.
Okay.
I'm a guess, but
My second favorite Lynch scene ever would be when Lou Reed's cover of This Magic Moment plays, and she's getting out of
she's
the
getting
car.
out of the car in the gas
That
station.
scene is
And
just
then
like.
isn't that the scene where it's like the road and you can see like the
I got-
lines
I-
of the
Well, that's
road?
another.
It
scene.
reminded me of
Yeah.
Umbrellas of Cherbourg, just because he was in the shop.
Oh, like that scene was just
Yeah.
so like.
Very
remember-
Holly,
that's what I
very
was
old
gonna say,
Hollywood.
like,
It was like a
I don't
very.
remember a lot of this, but I remember
Yeah.
that scene so well. Like those two.
Like
My
he-
favorite scene was the Marilyn Manson when she stripped.
Oh, that
I
was
just-
another-
that was a
yeah.
great needle drop.
Yeah, the car one when she was getting out in that song, because it was just like
Mhm.
kind of like obviously dark and like there's like a lot of like some like metal, like we say, and there was like a lot of like noirish things about this movie too. Like
Yeah.
when she's on the phone, like the way the shots are very like film noir based, but like there was something also just very sweet about like that. It was just like this like boyish like
Yeah.
like infatuation and lust. Like
Yeah.
it was something just very like you just kind of feel it internally more, you know. And with that scene
It's
specifically.
like
And the music, I love that.
like a
scene.
nostalgia a little
A
bit.
nostalgic,
you know?
yeah.
I feel
That's
like all
the
his
thing, 'cause
movies have
this
that.
is such a weird, like dark movie, but there's moments of just like bliss too. Like
Yeah. One of my favorite characters is the boss.
that's what I'm saying. That's
Another Frank Booth type. When
this-
he stops just to
driving
beat up.
scene?
Yeah. When he stops
that's
just
another
to beat
thing
up
that
a
was
guy.
ingrained in my memory. There's so many scenes in this movie that are just
Totally unnecessary, but it was really funny.
Yeah, it didn't
you
really-
know?
yeah,
like
but
you just beat
that
the shit
guy
out
was
of that
crazy.
guy. Yeah. It's so fucking crazy. There's a few of scenes like that in
and the
Mulholland
scene
Drive.
with the Chris Isaac song.
I'm sorry. What happens in this?
Oh no, that's actually no. Never mind.
I think you're thinking
That's
of
from Wild at Heart.
Your Wild at Heart. Yeah.
Okay, the scene when they're like,
Okay, this
like,
is,
the
this is
house
one
at
thing
the
I
end?
wanted to bring up. This is one thing I wanted to bring up. Both Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway, I kind of get mixed up a little bit.
Okay.
Even now, I'm just thinking
I
about
said
it.
they're like sister films.
One of the issues I had with both of these films is the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
It's too clean for me. For me,
Okay.
I prefer more rougher Lynch.
So you
know,
probably like the Inland Empire. more.
I did like the style of Inland Empire more, believe it or not. I did like the style. I do like the style of Eraserhead, and I even like the style of Blue Velvet even more than this glossy. You know what I'm looking?
Well, it's
the
LA.
cinema. I know, but
That's
like,
the
and
thing.
I
Is
wanted.
that why he makes
That's
it that
why.
way?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a finger on what it looked like, and then I looked up the cinematographer's filmography. Scream 2 and 3, and I'm like, it looks like it looks like
Really?
a Scream sequel. Like if you look at and the third Scream movie does take place in Hollywood.
I don't think it looked too clean to me.
It,
Like-
it was a little glossy. It was a little like I don't know.
I quite like
it's
the cinematography. Like to me, like I get some of the noir stuff when they were
Mhm.
like on the phone and do you remember that scene when she was?
Oh, I did like
the
yeah, I
lighting,
did like
like,
the close. I did like
yeah, the close stuff. I actually like the cinematography in this movie.
I'm not a. I don't know. For Lynch's style, I prefer the darker, drearier.
And,
I
well, to
feel like
me-
it fits
no, no.
his style.
Yeah.
the
Cinematography in
most.
this movie when this is like, I feel like the most iconic David Lynch shot ever is in this movie.
the
When
house.
no, the house on fire is fire
Yeah,
too. Again,
yeah.
just amazing scenes.
Reverse.
But when he's driving for the intro and you just see the road,
Oh.
the yellow lines.
I was
That
driving.
is like
That's what I was talking
the
I
about.
was
Lynch
driving
shot.
down the Garden State Parkway, and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
Lynch influence."
that is the Lynch. That's what I'm saying.
That song is so
I
good.
quite like the
I know what
cinematography.
you mean. It's another like dreamy thing that
Yeah.
he comes up with, like certain like liminal spaces, certain like things that are like subconscious. The subconscious.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before,
Yeah.
but like,
Gary Busey.
oh yeah, I forgot. He's
Gary
his
Busey's
parents.
the parent.
Yeah.
This is funny.
When he's with his gang of like biker friends. I don't know what this movie is, man. Like what?
But okay, also, just to talk about more iconic scenes, the house burning, and then
Yeah.
that whole scene at the end when they're like on like the sandy kind of right,
mm-hmm.
like I just
It ended a bit abruptly. I'll say that. He gets into a police chase, and then it just ends, and he's just shaking. That's a crazy visual,
yeah.
but it ended a bit abruptly.
To me, I would put this on par with Wild at Heart,
Quality wise.
quality wise. Yeah.
Okay. How do you? I'm sorry, but how do you measure the quality of a Lynch movie?
Okay, like again,
I just say I just liked it, or I like it. Just it worked for me, or it didn't. I can't even like. It's hard to even
with
like
Mulholland
judge.
Drive, I can do a deep dive because I
Yeah.
like I know that movie in and out.
What would you give it? Shelf rating.
Okay, all these are gonna be last shelves for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna
yeah.
like completely
Glass
ruin
shelf?
the rating system. All three.
All right.
What is the rating system again?
It's like a 5-tier thing. So off the shelf, and then there's 3 shelves, like
Top
low,
shelf,
and then
bottom
glass shelf, and then you can also. We kind of made a thing called drug cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like if you're fucked up and you want to watch it, go watch it. Like watch it on Substance.
Okay, I put this as let me.
I put this in the drug cabinet. Okay, it is a long movie. Pick a night to watch this one. Yeah, I don't know.
Drug cabinet is just like a different.
Drug cabinet is just
like
like
a
you can't
different-
even like
you can't compare.
Well, to me, it's like
would you really think it's a masterpiece? Do you really think this is like
no, I don't.
one
think,
of the
I don't-
That's why I would say
I don't,
probably
I
drug
don't
cabinet.
think it's Lynch's masterpiece, but I can talk so highly about it because
Yeah.
again, it's
He's one of your favorite filmmakers. You're biased.
I'm
yeah.
biased, but also it's like I see so many movies like this is like
You like it
yes,
because it's so unique and
it's
out there
so
and different.
clearly
But
not as
you know
good as
what?
some of his other movies.
Yeah.
But it's like
You know
compared
what?
to anything else out there, it's not even.
You-
This
you
is
know
so
what?
much more interesting.
You know what though? It isn't as unique as I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
It felt like a lot of the same shit. Like I wasn't really surprised by this. I wasn't like shocked. There was no moments in this.
No, it's
honestly.
not a shocking movie. I wouldn't say.
I wouldn't say it's
Well,
a shocking movie.
Yeah,
different
but like, there's
from
no
what I
moments in
remember.
this that really made me feel like that indescribable like Lynch
Oh, to me,
feeling
I
that
felt
people.
that. Again, the car scene, like all the
See, I-
scenes.
no,
I felt that way.
I'll be honest. I was struggling to get engaged with this
Okay.
one. I'll give it a drug cabinet.
I would say I'm biased. Like
Yeah.
I can say which Lynch films are actually better, but as far as my personal taste, they're all gonna be a glass. Like for me, because if I'd have a glass shelf, I'd put them all on the glass shelf. you
Yeah.
know? It's not his best, and I
Not
can't
his
say
best.
it's the best movie ever, but it's just so much more interesting to me than almost anything else.
Well, before we get into Mulholland Drive, he came out with another movie,
Oh, The Straight Story.
The Straight Story. I just know that it's like a farmer in a tractor,
Yeah.
and he just rides his tractor or
To
something.
like meet, he's like trying to go to his brother's house to fix some past mistakes that they both had, like
like
to
a
fix
kids
their
movie?
relationship. No.
I feel like
Why is it-
I
what do you
feel
mean
like it's an
Disney?
It's
exis.
more like a family movie, but
Yeah.
it's kind of
Oh.
existential, and I heard it's actually quite sad, and but like hard, like life affirming too.
We should watch that one.
But
We
it-
should watch that one. A
Yeah.
wholesome,
It
like
fits-
David Lynch. Like
It fits his movies though. They say there's a lot
Justin,
of
this is the only one you haven't seen
know.
yet. You gotta like
I gotta get on this.
you gotta get on this. And then after that, which was honestly a weird deviation in his career.
Yeah, it was. But
Um,
it still fits. Like I said, if you want, it's like the happy parts of the more whimsical parts of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
That like without all the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mulholland Drive, which, yeah, it's his probably his hallmark film. I would say even more than Eraserhead. I think more people talk about this movie more, and more
Well,
people like it. Honestly,
Because Eraser, it's more like people talk about it because it's weird.
yeah, this one
Oh,
is
what's that weird Eraserhead
Yeah.
movie?
People
This is
actually
like,
take this more as like
yeah,
a movie, like an
yeah.
actual movie.
which I'm upset about because give Eraserhead a fucking shot. Just don't fucking I don't know.
I love Eraserhead, but
Which makes me more confused about this because to me, this is a lot harder to sit through than Eraserhead.
I agree.
well, Eraserhead's
I
quick.
agree.
First,
Yeah,
Eraserhead
even though
is
it's quick,
short.
but it's like Mulholland Drive can't like feels like
an hour makes a difference in a Lynch movie. I'll just say that.
how much
You know?
how much shorter is Eraserhead?
Eraserhead
than-
is only 90 minutes.
Yeah, Eraserhead's
Really?
short. It's like
And
an
then
hour
how
and a
long is Mulholland Drive?
half. Long.
Yeah, 2.5 hours at
hours.
least.
Mulholland
But-
I feel like towards the end of Mulholland Drive, it's like
2.5 hours.
you're so
Yeah.
into the trance of the movie.
Yeah. Well, it's like to me the thing was like Eraserhead is like weird throughout, but
Yeah.
Mulholland Drive builds.
It does.
You know, like
It
the
does.
last 20 minutes are like really hallucinogenic.
Yeah, but it starts off really weird in the beginning too.
Yeah, but it's
It
yeah.
kind of starts off, like I said. Well, I should give some background. David Lynch originally filmed this as a TV pilot. This was originally supposed to be a TV
Yeah.
pilot.
But Audrey was gonna play the main character, so it really did completely change.
Oh,
It
really?
was supposed to be about Audrey from Twin Peaks. You know
Yeah.
Audrey.
Yeah.
So she was gonna be going to Hollywood.
Uh huh.
So then it morphed into this.
But it was
Yeah.
going to be her character?
Yeah. But that never actually
Yeah.
happened. So a lot of the ideas came from that, but it's really a different thing.
Huh.
You know, there's a girl, she's like missing or kind of missing.
Yeah.
They're looking for her,
Yeah.
right? And she stumbles upon Naomi Watts'
Yeah.
character, who is, it's not her apartment, it's her aunt's apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the scene where she comes out and she arrives in LA and she's with that old woman.
Yeah, I know.
And
And
you don't even know. She doesn't even know who those people
know.
are. She just met them, which is
And
hilarious.
Their
It's
faces,
great.
and they're so
I can
smiling.
picture them
And they
so
come back
specifically.
later. They
Yeah.
come back later, which
And they come back like creepy.
they come back later at the very end.
Well, we'll get into that.
But what is your history with Mulholland Drive? You said this was the second Lynch
Yeah,
film.
I think like the second. This
Yeah.
is the one I've seen the most
Okay.
because I feel like again, Lynch has a lot like. Lynch is a filmmaker that every single movie is kind of a very similar thing, and this movie
Kind of like a Wes Anderson, you know, like you kind of expect,
You know what to expect, like,
going in.
you know, going
Yeah.
in.
But
You know,
this movie, I feel like mixes everything he's done before it, and just masters it.
how so?
So, for instance, like you talked about like Missing Girl, you know,
Yeah.
or like the themes about Hollywood, or the themes about like the subconscious mind, or like all of the like he leaves a lot of blueprints in this movie, like the key, and like so all of these like things that he's attempted in other movies, I just feel like in this one they all come together in the most like synchronized way. So let's just talk about the plot a little bit. So
Yeah, I mentioned the plot.
So she gets off
she
the plane.
gets off. Oh, okay, yeah. So there's a
Yeah,
Well, first
girl.
it starts with
The
when
girl
they
was
were.
missing.
Yeah.
And then there's a director who gets contacted by. I like the director's character a
that's
lot.
Justin
He was
Thoreau.
really
Like, that's
funny.
who we saw.
Oh,
He was
really?
there.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was there.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's about this girl who's like all Naomi Watts is so great because she plays like 1950s like
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like
so well.
transatlantic accent.
yeah, like-
Excited for.
Yeah, head in the clouds.
Yeah, head in the
like-
clouds.
Oh, I wanted to say something. I'm gonna spank his little butt for breakfast.
Who says that?
Coco.
Oh,
Remember
says
Coco?
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a girl comes to Hollywood essentially. She meets another girl who is now an amnesiac. She can't remember what happened to
Yeah,
her.
she decides to crash at her
or
place.
who she was. So
Yeah.
they kind of join forces. So one is working towards becoming an actress. The other is working towards figuring out who she is. And their lives and stories really interconnect. And they kind of, if you've seen Persona by Ingmar Bergman, it's kind of similar in that how they kind of
Merge
Merge
into
into
one. That's
one
kind of like
and-
what Lost Highway was kind of like the same thing.
That's what
with
I'm
the
saying.
blonde and
This
the
does-
Yeah.
all of his stuff.
Yeah.
I'll talk a lot about this movie and my
Yeah.
opinions and themes on it, but I do want
Yeah.
to hear what you guys think.
If I'm gonna show someone a David Lynch movie, this would be the first one I show
Okay.
them. It's hard to talk about a Lynch film. I'm starting to realize now, but I'm just gonna bring up some scenes I liked.
Ooh,
I
I've
like The
seen-
Cowboy.
This is another movie with
Yeah, it's like
iconic
hard to
scenes.
talk about the movie like almost like as a whole. It's
Yeah.
like easier to talk about.
This
the
is probably the
scenes.
hardest podcast to talk. Hardest
Yeah.
movies to talk
Yeah.
about on the podcast
Okay,
so far.
But the scene.
I-
where
I-
they're
wait,
at
wait,
the
I wanna-
diner.
Yeah,
Oh, you
wait,
got-
I
you
wanted
got-
to bring up
you
something.
got-
I wanted to bring up something. Cowboy hits.
The
Love the
cowboy hits,
cowboy.
yeah.
Love
His
the
voice.
cowboy. Yes. He's like, you will see me once. And then they,
once if,
If.
and then twice if.
yeah.
So it's actually a really interesting backstory
Uh-huh.
about the cowboy. The cowboy is not an actor. He's like somebody's friend. I think Lynch's friend or
Yeah.
Justin Thoreau's friend, or like he's one of the cast's friends.
I wanted to say he looked recognizable, but I
And
guess
then-
not.
So Justin Thoreau, like since he wasn't an actor, Justin Thoreau, the director, would wear a thing on his shirt, like
Monty Montgomery is his
Monty
name.
Montgomery. Yeah.
He's a producer. He produces. He
So he was
produced
Lynch's friend.
Lynch,
He was a
yeah.
producer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wore Justin Thoreau, the director in the movie, wore a thing on his chest, like a piece of paper,
Yeah.
with the dialogue that the cowboy was, because the cowboy couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Monty
So he
couldn't
wrote.
read
say
So
it.
so
He's
he like.
He's reading it off of Justin.
It
Thoreau.
does look like he's reading. It does sound like he's reading it though. It's so deadpan.
But
you know.
but that's what makes it good though. How deadpan it is, you know.
That's what makes it like.
I love how he
creepy.
just appears too.
And that scene when he's like, when he goes, I'm gonna go meet the cowboy, and then he goes, that's fine.
Another scene, the hitman, when he does the hit and he accidentally shoots
Oh,
a bullet
yeah.
into the other, and
That's
the
like
fat.
the best example of Lynchian comedy.
Dude, it's so fucking funny, and he like it's a big tassel, and it's so unnecessary.
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
like can't help but laugh because the
Yeah.
woman is like she's in agonizing pain, but the way she's just like
Yeah.
on the floor, she's just I don't know, it's hilarious.
My brother, I made him watch this movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What are the point of these scenes?"
He hated it.
What are the point of the scene? But like, wasn't he like not amused? Was he amused at least by the
He
scenes?
just said it. He
No.
didn't understand what the
He
point
didn't
was.
like he didn't like how he didn't
you
understand what was
find,
happening.
You didn't find the hitman scene. I think anyone can find the hitman scene
That's
a little
what
bit
I'm
amusing.
Maybe he found it.
Like
I
it's
don't know.
like
I think
it's,
he was
it's
just like
so,
dumbfounded.
It's
like
so it's so
dumbfounded.
like definitive. Like I know. I wanted to say like this should be the first movie you show him because it's so clear. Like the intent is clear here. You know, in Blue Velvet, you might think it's like all serious.
Yeah,
you might think
you
you
don't
might think
know.
it's not all a joke. It's clearly supposed to be weird. It's clearly supposed to be out of this world and funny at points.
So I heard you. Oh, so that scene's great.
Yeah, and you wanted me to. I want to guess your favorite scene before I bring it up.
Okay.
The two are in Opera House, and they
No.
Okay, but I wanted to bring up that scene.
That's probably my third favorite.
That's a great
scene.
scene.
If I would have to say.
Look,
ever of Lynch movies.
he's not playing. No, what did
Oh,
he say?
that's so fucking good. Okay,
it's a recording.
This scene is amazing, and
Yeah.
I want to get into this scene.
Uh-huh.
Like I can talk about it for a while, so I don't know. Should we talk about other things first?
No, talk about it right now.
All right.
This is a Lynch episode. We're all over the place, just like his movies.
Okay.
So
Disclaimer.
Actually,
Yeah,
let's think
disclaimer.
about it. This is probably my second favorite Lynch scene. My third, or maybe would be the one from Lost Highway with the car.
okay.
This scene is amazing. It fully okay. This is the thesis for the film.
Okay.
Really, it's all a recording. You know, it's all an
Yeah.
illusion. Hollywood is all an illusion, like dreams and. You hear this lady start singing like this beautiful. She starts singing Roy Orbison in Spanish.
Yeah, it's
There's a
so
funny thing
beautiful
about this.
too.
So she's singing crying, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By
she's
Roy
singing it
Orbison.
in
In
Spanish.
Spanish. What's funny about this is Blue Velvet. Lynch didn't want In Dreams. He wanted this song Crying
Why
That's
why
not
didn't
good,
he use it
actually.
then?
because he couldn't get the
Get
rights,
the rights for
yet.
it. Yeah.
Eventually, for this movie, he got the rights to it, and then he did it
In
in
Spanish.
Spanish, which is funny.
Yeah.
So we
It hit
already
in Spanish.
We already know it's a recording.
does.
We know that
It-
it's nonsense.
I'm not
It's
gonna lie.
real.
I almost teared up.
You completely forget.
You forget that it's a
They
recording,
just said.
and you felt like, oh my
they
god.
just told you.
Oh yeah,
it's
they
a lie.
say it. They say it like before it happens.
He does
right?
this twice in this movie.
Yeah.
He also does this in the scene when she's acting, and it's fake.
Oh yeah.
So
That one is not as effective. I think this is.
I
way
think it's
more
so
effective.
effective. I got so into that scene too. But anyway, this scene, the singing is so beautiful that you completely
You forget, yeah.
And that's really what Lynch is all about. It's like abstractions.
Uh-huh.
The curtains, the vaudevillian characters on stage with the saxophone, or there's a trumpet, I don't remember. The Naomi Watts, and I can't remember the other actress, but when they're sitting in the seats crying, the whole again.
And I like how there was like a few, not a full crowd, but there was like just a few people there. You know?
Yeah, because it feels like I don't know.
It doesn't feel that important.
Well, it does in a way. It doesn't feel that important, but it feels like just living in New York City now. Like you kind of go out to some places really late at night, and it's like weird, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a weekday, but it's like you just kind of stumbled upon.
Have you ever
this
gone to
weird
like
place.
a movie theater on a matinee during a Wednesday or something
yeah.
like that, where there's just like, you know, it's just people that are usually alone, just
Yeah.
there, and it's just like you kind of understand that you're all there alone,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Exactly. There's a sense of being alone and just stumbling.
Yeah,
And the build up to this scene is amazing too. How it's like the shaky cam before you actually enter.
yeah, that was great. Like, where were they?
Yeah,
like
like
in the
the
middle of an
front of it,
alley
yeah.
or something.
And they just went in the middle of the night.
Mhm.
So, but this whole scene, aside from like the thematics of it, I mean, how it's the thesis, and I said all that, but like
Yeah.
just the actual visual look of it, and it's just so iconic. All the other movies, he doesn't like to tell you what they're about, and they're more abstract.
Yeah.
But this one, I can really get what it's about because he tells you,
I mean,
and then he's
I still think
he
it's
gets
pretty,
you.
Yeah.
He tells you, but you're so
I didn't think about it as that's what the movie's about. I just thought about it. That's a theme. And,
I think that's what the movie's about.
and that it's a part of what the movie's about.
Because think about the whole thing with the two girls and how one wants to become.
So the
This-
whole wait. So what do you think is the movie is about? Like completely.
I don't fucking know. I mean, so my,
like you
my
said-
basic
yeah.
general understanding of it would be that like he's using Hollywood as like the iconography of Hollywood as this place where like a city of dreams.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't think it's just about Hollywood, but he's using it as like
But what do you mean
vehicle
by like
to-
it's all a recording? What does that have
So
to
he's
do with
basically
it?
like in a way he's like he's like he's doing a lot of things here. I
Because
think
to me, that whole thing was like a comment like commentary on like just this is what film is. This is exactly
well,
what film is.
he's
It's
coming.
all a
That's what I'm saying.
recording.
He's
It's
doing a
all
lot.
a
He's commenting
recording.
on film. He's commenting on pop culture, like
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what I got more pop culture.
like
from
like
it.
now when you see like girls or even guys like posing on like Instagram or something, and they look so
Well,
perfect.
Instagram didn't exist then, so it
Yeah,
would be
but I'm
more
saying
of like
this is just like an example
Yeah.
of that. It's not real,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
also trying to say that like it also has to do with like that like Lynch is a lot about dreaming in the subconscious, but also like physical like dreams and like this is I have a dream to do this, you know. And I think this movie like kind of like is like a nightmare in the sense that like it's all phony. You know, everything you dreamt about, like you didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
towards the end of the
a
movie, she didn't really make it. She was a dream. We'll get to the ending. It's
Yeah.
it's too hard to explain without talking about.
What
other
else do
scenes.
you wanna? Yeah. What
Okay,
else do
so
you
let's
wanna
just
bring
go
up?
into scenes first, because then I can branch
Yeah.
off and try to.
well, you should
try to
talk about your
about the
favorite
ending.
scene.
So my favorite scene is so it does the illusion thing 3 times in the movie,
Mhm.
and I buy into it all 3 times. I don't know if I'm an idiot or what, but it happens in the
I
acting
do the
scene.
singing scene. Like
It
I
happens in
I
the
feel like
singing
it's
scene.
impossible not to buy into
Yeah.
that. Like, can I get caught up in that singing scene? It's such a like. Oh, the singing is so good.
Yeah.
The singing is so good. I don't know how he did it. How did he? I feel like I think that's a famous singer.
I
if
read
don't
about the
believe
story
it.
of how
Yeah.
he found her, but I just don't remember at
Yeah.
this point. So my favorite personal favorite scene of any movie ever, and of all of Lynch's stuff, obviously, would be, and this might be a weird choice, and you might have not even like picked up on this, but it's the scene when she right after the acting scene.
Okay.
She goes, oh, let me take you to this audition, and they go into that big sprawling room, and it starts. The camera shows these singers singing like 1950s doo-wop music, right?
Okay. Oh,
and then it
yes.
zooms out,
Yeah.
and
And
you
it's
realize
fake. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
And I love that
Oh
scene.
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
You didn't
about
know that was a part of the movie?
No, I did,
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
saying it like you kind of just
that.
lose
You kind of like
yourself.
You lose
forget,
yourself?
like for a second, like you know it is, but you kind of like forget.
I'm
reason-
surprised that's like your
Well, let me
favorite
explain why.
scene. Yeah.
I like the illusion, obviously, but that's not really why. To me, it was that magical moment when it was that song. It was It was like 16 reasons or something.
Mhm.
It's like
16 Reasons Why
Why I
Love
Love
You.
You or something like that. And you have the director, Justin Thoreau's character, and you have Naomi Watts' character. It's the first time they meet, and they just look at each other from across the room. And to me, it's not about necessarily what's happening, but it's the magic where you've been following these characters and they haven't met yet. And then you have the illusion of the movie, and then you have the 1950s music playing, which is always a trademark in Lynch's films. Again, because it's phony. It's 1950s glamorous Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
So when you have the element of the illusion breaking with the movie, when you have these two characters who you've been following who finally meet, and they have this like kind of romantic longing look into each other, and they look at each other in this way that you don't really understand, but you can kind of think about real life and these moments where you just feel something, and it's just kind of fleeting, and you don't really know that it could be a person or a thing, but you just kind of you feel something you can't explain in that one moment, and it's
what makes Lynch such a what makes Lynch so good at that? What do you think makes him so good at that like I don't know, it's
just
hard to think.
indescribable.
But like other filmmakers can also
like
also capable of you know making you're describing like cinema, you know what I mean?
well, yes, but I feel like as pretentious as pompous pretentious as it sounds, Lynch captures these moments in the best way to me.
Okay.
I feel like all of the elements come together to me.
I feel like it's his music.
The music,
You said that before, yeah.
the characters that we've kind
Yeah.
of been following, the illusion thing, and just the set like of
Because every time I hear someone talk about like his style, it's always very vague and it's always like
well, his style
very
is
indescribable.
it's
but,
indescribable,
like,
but there's a lot of trademarks.
there's trademarks,
Yeah.
but you can't put words to it. It seems like
This is I watch the scene just for my own pleasure, like often on YouTube. I
Yeah.
go back to it so often, and the songs just it just describes it's another really thesis for all of Lynch's work because it describes this. He grew up in like the 50s and 60s and like Americana. Like he didn't live in the big city. So to hear like this
you
kind
said
of
Montana, Idaho, I believe.
something like
that.
Again, I read all of his biography. I just don't remember. But
definitely around that area. 'Cause it reminds me of Twin Peaks a lot. That that type of stuff.
Just like when you hear that nostalgic music playing, and there's just this like, again, it's a dark movie with dark themes. Where you have this like sense of nostalgic wonder that completely transcends. And to me, it's like almost like I kind of like to live by this rule of like, yeah, like every day is shit and like we're broke and like all these things, but like who cares? Like we're alive, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like this scene is like, it's just this like beautiful kind of thing in the middle of this kind of really dark movie.
I'm surprised you think that scene is like the most pivotal. Like,
well, it's not the most pivotal.
Not pivotal, but I know what you mean.
It's really my personal favorite.
I have to rewatch this movie, man. It's so hard to follow.
I feel like you'll get something different from it. Like
so dense.
Every time you watch it, I feel like you'll get something.
So let's talk about more scenes.
Wait, who's the David Lynch character?
Oh,
that's, like, actually,
I can't believe I neglected to fucking.
What is it?
Okay, so picture this: you're walking just got off of a hard day's work. You walk in your room, and you see your wife in bed with
Billy Ray Cyrus. That's so funny.
I would. Out of anyone, I did not expect him to make an appearance in this.
Okay, wait, let me talk about this.
Yeah.
The way right after that meeting, he was all pissed off because he has to cast this person. He loses his, like, freedom, really. So then he drives home all mad, and his wife's cheating on him with Billy Ray Cyrus, of all people. And then the way he just drives the car, and he picks up paint, and he just, like, throws all over her rings, which is just showing how, like, artificial and how, like, wooden she is of a person. Like, it was so...
I feel like that was an exaggeration of like a Hollywood fight, like a Hollywood couple fight. Like, how could you?
Exactly. And the way he walks out was like some like weird music playing. That scene is so funny and it's so Lynchian.
I like that
Billy Ray Cyrus's IMDb, Mulholland Drive, the Hannah Montana movie, and The Spy Next Door.
Don't
great,
insane.
insane.
And what he says, like, don't be mad,
like,
man, or something like that.
I remember you telling me that someone was like a janitor or like something like that on the set, and then David Lynch saw him and thought he looked cool.
Oh, that was in Twin Peaks.
I didn't know if it was it was Bob.
The creepy guy. Bob.
I thought it was the guy behind the dumpster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was Bob. Ethan, did you know that? Bob from Twin Peaks. You know his origin?
Oh, he's just some random guy.
He was a guy working on set as like the mic guy or something. Yeah. And Lynch saw him was like, that guy's cool looking. I need to get a role for him.
That's a director, man. That's what a director
does. But that's
does.
where Bob came from. Do you know who Bob is?
Who's Bob?
Never mind. Okay, Bob. You didn't get far enough.
I didn't get far enough for Bob.
Okay. So anyway, the diner scene is also really integral to the thesis of the film because, and it's such a good standalone horror scene. Like, it's in broad...
Oh, he's also in Sharknado 2. Billy Ray Cyrus.
Wow. What a beautiful list.
So the diner scene's in broad daylight. Yeah. And he's telling the story about, like, this dream. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really surreal and stuff. But then when he goes outside, the fact that the homeless man, but who he saw as like a monster in his dream, is actually there. And the way he like, faints...
And doesn't he say like something like the dream's about to happen?
Again, that's breaking the wall between real life and dreams.
Yeah.
Because he says the dream's going to happen or something, right?
But he wanted to
see what I mean?
see
How
if
this
it was real.
this could be a pilot for a I can't unsee the pilot now because there's so many characters and they don't really go anywhere.
But that's...
And I'm like, dude, we definitely would follow that guy up until the whole thing.
No, I don't think that's the point. A lot of the, like, I guarantee you that diner scene is not related to the pilot. I can almost...
You don't know. You never know.
Because... So this is such a well executed scene as like from a filmmaking standpoint. The timing of it, like from when they left the diner to go to the back alley, it was like so perfectly executed. I just think it's like a perfect example of like why Lynch is such a great filmmaker. Okay, so there's another diner scene where Naomi Watts sees a waitress, and I don't remember what the name was, but there's a name on the waitress's shirt. That's who Naomi Watts really is. So, you know, like, after the theater scene, that's really... Okay, you know, we always talk about, like, in Boogie Nights, like, what was the turning point of the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
That theater was obviously the turning point in this movie. Because then the rest of the movie is just like a hallucinogenic like dream sequence, really. But then at the end, it's revealed that the main girl we've been following this whole movie is really
Girl.
the waitress from the diner, and she's been living this like fantasy of being this different person. And that's why the old people are important. And they come back at the end,
Yeah.
the old couple
You're
from the
visiting.
beginning, and that's why like all of these random scenes that don't make sense. And I love the hallucinogenic craziness at the end because it's like
You
all
think-
of these
but like,
things.
Yeah.
Like why were those old people so nice to her? And then at
Well,
the end,
yeah.
they're laughing at her. So it was like, it's really, how in dreams where it's like you're awake one day and then something happens, right? And you don't really think twice about it. It's just a small thing. But then you dream about it and you kind of see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So this old couple that she thought was like this like nice couple welcoming her to Hollywood.
In her dream, it was
In her
like
dream, it was like monsters, And then the cowboy comes back at the end too, and you see him walk through the room. And what
yeah.
he said, if you see me one more time, blah, blah, blah. If you see me two more times, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like you saw him a certain amount of times there, and it had to do with that saying.
I think you covered all of it, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about this movie for an hour,
Yeah.
but I feel like...
Want to talk about the ending? Just
I
to
mean,
close it
it's
off.
hard to talk about...
The dinner scene.
Oh, the
dinner
dinner
scene.
scene's great, too.
Oh,
Yeah,
when
the
they
dinner
get
scene's
jealous.
pretty important.
When
Yeah.
I get jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, I with Lynch, it's like, it's hard for me to be cohesive. I
Possible.
I can explain my
Yeah.
theories about the movie.
Everyone's gonna have their own take on it. I guess.
Everyone's gonna have their own take, and I've also done a lot of research to see what other people think about it. I hate to do that with Lynch movies, but I feel like this movie deserves it more than others because it clearly
Why
because
though?
it's more
Why?
obvious. It's more obvious, but it's
Okay.
more in your face. It's telling you it's
Well,
a
then-
lie. It's openly.
But
I
it
think-
tells you that
can-
in like many
Well,
points.
you can
of
do
it,
the
too.
same
Yeah,
thing.
it's-
You could do the same thing to others. You could do the same thing to
Yeah, but
others.
I think this movie's asking to be understood
Analyzed.
more than his other movies are.
I think all three are asking to be understood, and I don't know. That's just me. I think all three are trying to
I'm
say
not saying
something.
that they all are, but I'm saying some of the other ones are more.
I don't think this is that straightforward, right? You're saying that's
No,
what you're
it's
saying?
not-
It's like
It's
it's
not-
definitely not straightforward.
not
I was
straightforward.
confused as hell the first time
No,
I watched
it's not
it.
straightforward.
Hold on.
Oh, was that too loud? Sorry.
No, that she was like,
Oh.
I think we have to differentiate being straightforward and I think Lynch as a filmmaker. Again,
you
as
think
his,
he's asking for it? Because I think
as what you would call his magnum opus.
Yeah.
If you look back at his whole filmography, this would be why even try to understand all of his other ones if it kind of has similar themes
Yeah.
in this one. So
Try to
this
understand this one.
condenses it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
if you
true.
understand this movie, you have a good understanding of Lynch as a whole.
but I feel like at least for me, the first time I watched it, I was what 17. I feel like if I watched it and I like didn't understand it, I feel like if I watched it now for the first time, maybe I would get more from it. I don't really.
When we did see it again,
It was like
when we
it
were
was only
20 or
like a year
something, or
later.
19.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you get like when you watched it, Ethan? Did you like understand it like everything?
this movie needs multiple
No.
views.
Like I was like
Well,
so like
it's.
this is why like
I,
dense.
I really
It's
wish
dense.
it. I really wish
I
it
like
wasn't
this
2.5
movie.
hours long.
Wait,
But let's
so,
get into the ratings.
Well, I just
Glass
wanna
shelf,
say,
of course.
For you, glass shelf.
No,
For
for me it would be top shelf.
for me it would be top
for me.
shelf.
It'd be
Okay.
top shelf for me.
We know Justin's answer.
Yeah, I already said
Glass shelf. But what were you
Um,
about to say? You're gonna bring up one other thing?
I hate to be this guy, but sorry, you guys both have shit tastes.
I don't know. How do I have a shit taste? Just because I didn't say put it in
No, I
glass
guess
case.
it's too long. And
I
it's not
said
glass
I
It
shelf.
is too
personally-
long.
just-
It's so
seen,
long.
It's seen as one of the best movies of all time. I'm validated.
That's fine.
I'm-
That's
I'm
fine.
I kick him in the nuts so hard they go crawling up inside his brain for refuge. He goes down like a $2 whore. Crying and shit, telling me how he's never done nothing but love me bullshit.
We can get into Inland Empire. It is not. I'm not saying it's better than Mulholland Drive.
Mhm.
Relax, okay?
Do you personally
Relax.
like it more?
This was the easiest one to get through, to be honest with you.
Wow.
That's a very hot take.
That's,
This is the
that's
easiest
the
one to
hottest
get
take
through.
in the world.
Um,
Really had trouble getting
yeah.
through this
I
movie.
really did.
I don't know why, but the cheap digital camera vibe, the digital camera style of it, really
It really worked for the movie.
complemented Lynch's style. I think I grew up on watching a lot of old Adult Swim, like TV shorts, like I don't know if you ever seen I showed you, I think,
Yeah, the Adult Swim stuff. Yeah.
unedited footage of a
Yeah.
bear, and there's one now.
Have you
but
seen the one
There's
that's
something
like,
about
if you see like a woman sees like another version of herself, like
Oh, yeah, he sent
that's
me that.
that's
Oh,
that's the
really?
one I was yeah, and there's another one where there's a person in the wall on the floor, and they get
oh sinking through.
sinking through or something
my
like
favorite
that.
one.
Yeah,
Never
We
seen
actually
it.
just watched these like
Yeah, because he sent me them.
Oh, they're recent.
Yeah, this is the ones I sent you.
Oh, oh.
And I sent you it because it reminded me of David Lynch,
Okay.
and it was funny because before I saw
Yeah.
Inland Empire,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
now that I see it now, I'm pretty sure these Adult Swim like little shorts are heavily inspired by
Yeah, I
this.
can
At
see
Let me
least.
just say, you said that you like this camera stuff, like this visual look more than
Ye-
the cinematography and stuff, like
Yeah.
more than some of his other ones. But this wouldn't work in any other movie of his besides this one, in my opinion.
Why?
Oh, I agree. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, it just wouldn't.
Oh
work.
yeah, because what it's showing. It's just like
The other ones are more straightforward movies. This is more of
Yeah.
like
it's what I'm looking for in a Lynch movie. I want to be confused the whole way through and not trying to be frustrated trying to figure out something. I want to give up. And this movie, it made me give up, and I just and another thing too. I am a big fan of Laura Dern,
yeah,
and I think that's like my favorite
Lynch actor.
Lynch actor. I think she like what he gets out of her is always amazing,
Yeah.
and I think she's my favorite actress out of his
Canon.
his canon.
Arsenal.
I wish Laura Dern was in Mulholland Drive. It probably would have been better, honestly.
No, I don't think so. If
I
if
did.
she
Could
was
not
Naomi
picture-
Watts. No,
yeah,
Naomi Watts was perfection.
but
in
in
that
some
role.
way,
If she was, like,
if
made
she was
some
in
Well,
sort of,
they're
like-
both in Twin Peaks season 3. What I was saying about Mulholland Drive is where you can try to decipher what's happening. A lot of Lynch movies just ask you to give up, and Inland Empire being the most of all of them, in my opinion.
'Cause
Yeah.
there's no way you're gonna watch that and actually like. There's no point in watching that movie and like going with a solid storyline of what's happening.
Yeah, but
There is a loose one.
but
in the
honestly-
beginning
Like, there's
and at
no
the
But
end.
point
honestly,
of, like,
I
trying
do,
to,
I do kind of follow though. There's a structure to it. You see something. You start off the movie and you see a woman watching another TV and
Yeah.
she's watching like these rabbits talk, and you realize that she's watching what you're watching, and then we come back to it from time to time. The structure of this was a lot more linear than I thought it would be, and I kind of preferred
I'd say
it.
it's linear.
It follows the
Well,
same
it's-
character a
it's-
lot. It follows
it's-
the same character.
No, it's linear, but it's not like linear in an abstract
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
feel like
scene from scene, like I say, linear in that it follows the same character and and it goes back. Like Mulholland Drive, for example, just jumps through characters
Yeah,
like nothing.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
know what's real. You
No,
don't know what's
that's
not.
true.
In Inland Empire, it's
Well, you
You-
know
you
the
just-
turning point.
yeah.
You know what turns into dream. World,
yeah.
like-
You know what's a dream.
Let's start with that woman in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was an interesting conversation.
What do you mean?
You know the woman in the beginning?
in the house.
In the house?
sitting?
Oh,
sitting.
I thought you were talking about the woman watching the TV.
No, oh, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But you know that lady?
The
who
woman in
created,
the
like,
beginning.
neighbor?
Yeah.
That
She,
whole scene is weird.
It starts off in a weird way.
Her
like, right
performance is
away.
really good.
It
though.
is,
It's like
yeah.
a really
And her
creepy
face is
performance, and the way she's like,
You have a new role to play, I hear.
Up for a roll.
No, I definitely heard that you have it.
and then she sees herself
Yeah.
play the and
So let me go into like the acting stuff.
uh-huh.
The other actor is Justin Theroux. He's the director in Mulholland Drive.
What was he in this movie? I forget.
He was her co-star. He was in the movie that Laura Dern was acting in. That was her
Oh.
co-star in the movie that they were making in the beginning.
On my notes I wrote swing your hips, but I don't remember what that means.
Could it be that the Locomotive song?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
we'll
okay,
get
yes,
into- we'll get
yes.
into
That's what I
that.
loved about it. Yes.
Okay, so
Oh wait, I want to mention you showed me a few of David Lynch's music videos.
Yeah.
Before this. This movie gives that energy.
Yes.
Yeah. The turning point in this movie when it becomes like it stops being normal altogether was
Yeah.
when she gets lost in like that room. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember that?
Oh, with all the other people in it.
No. It was like
It was kind of like a back room. Like
was
I
a
was
back
like, yeah, it was
room,
like a
but, like,
liminal spaces. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying with Lynch. It's like, that's it's that undescribable feeling like I'm
I
talking
feel like
about.
Skinamarink is gonna.
well, that's what I would say that this is the
Have that
closest
vibe.
liminal. This would be the closest movie to liminal.
Liminal
to
spaces. Yeah.
Skinamarink that I could even think of.
And I heard Skinamarink people brought up that it
In-
is
in
kind of
Empire.
like a lot of
Yeah,
like
I've seen that a lot.
Empire.
Okay, so once it gets into weird Dreamo world, we
Yeah.
have the amazing sequence with the dancing
With the dancing,
and the
yeah.
locomotions playing.
I love it. I want more of that. I wish like he go. When you brought up late David Lynch before I've seen his movies. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting it to be a lot more like weirder and shitpostier than the dreamy, subtler
So you thought everything was gonna be more like
Well, because Lynch isn't just
Inland Empire?
nonsense. Like
yeah,
he-
Lynch is not just nonsense.
no.
He takes his time to
Yeah,
create a feel
Yeah.
of something,
And
and
he-
it's not it's more deliberate than
it's
just
it's very
yeah.
deliberate. That's why I like him. He's not just shitpost. I don't
Well,
want him
but
to.
sometimes he does.
I
Sometimes he
love
does.
when he does, but it's an
like
instance.
Wild at Heart. That whole movie is a shit post.
If he was shitposting altogether, he wouldn't be as interesting. He is trying
Yeah,
to
that's true.
say something.
That is true.
Because there's
That
so
is
many
true.
directors who are just weird for the sake of being
and
weird.
and,
They
and,
never
and the
are
part of it
impactful.
part of it is like trying to find it. Like he's an enigma.
Yeah.
You know, like you want like why did this guy make this?
Yeah.
What did he mean by this? What does this mean to him?
But that's why. If it was just weird, you'd be like, "Oh, that was just weird." Like, no, like
Yeah.
because there's a reason behind it.
there's
and a
something
theme behind
going
it.
on, even if you can't fully grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something under the surface.
Don't you just hate it when you're walking on Sunset Boulevard and you get a fucking screwdriver shoved in your gut
Yeah.
and then you're crawling and you're talking to some tweakers
And
about
then who do you see there?
Terry Crews?
Terry Crews. Really, do you remember Terry Crews?
Yeah, I do.
When I started Terry Crews, like, is that Terry Crews?
all three of them, they're great.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I forget what the one that's alone says, but
What you say about Pomona?
I can't think.
What was the
this is
budget for
weirder than
this
Eraser.
movie?
It's not even close.
What was the budget for this?
Like nothing, probably.
probably
So
not
that
good.
means like
Oh, I saw something. He promoted the film by just
Sitting on a
sitting
couch
on a
outside.
stand
Yeah.
outside on
We're
the
trying to
street.
get Laura Dern nominated for an Oscar. But
Yeah.
she didn't get nominated because it was too weird. I guess
She should though.
she
she should've
deserves it,
gotten
but
it.
like it's just too
Honestly-
weird for the Academy Awards. Okay, so let's just again, Lynch is amazing at making scenes.
Yeah,
What's that random weird face that just comes on the screen?
that's a dude.
What
is creepy.
Okay,
Remember that?
another thing with this movie. It's like so close. It's like really close to like creepypasta, like internet, like
it is,
horror.
it is.
You know, it,
But it
it
was, like,
reminded
before
me.
that was even
and it was like it was ahead of its
yeah.
time. That's what I'm saying. Like I truly think some of these like liminal, like creepy
Came from
internet
us, yeah,
horror,
it's not-
movies,
yeah.
like internet horror. That's why I like it so
Yeah.
much. That's why I think it's an actual, unique piece of like cinema. Or is it cinema? It's digital.
Well, it's
Yeah.
cinema, but yeah,
Um,
it's digital, but it's cinema.
I wanted to mention too.
The
What's
catch-
interesting about this is Criterion is releasing a 4K of this,
Yeah.
and they're using AI technology to upscale it
Yeah.
because it's shot on digital, which is really
Interesting.
interesting,
So
and it
what are they
feels like
gonna
something
do?
that Lynch would be against.
Yeah, I want to see it. I
Is
really
he
want
for
to see
it?
the 4K version. Yeah,
I didn't see the 4K.
no,
I
is
just
he
saw-
like is
I wanna
is
see it.
David Lynch?
I'm
like,
assuming
Yeah,
he's
he,
for
yeah,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He wouldn't have.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
signed
He's
off
like
on
really with Criterion. They always have like the director signed stuff.
Yeah,
like, he,
yeah, yeah.
he signs off on all this stuff. So you know that guy that she keeps visiting with? He's like these weird glasses.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
That was like a whole another thing. And then there's one, in my opinion, my favorite maybe scene. Okay, no, not my favorite, but like one of the best dream sequences in this movie, dream sequence scenes in this movie is the one with the ketchup.
The end credits of this movie is really funny
Oh,
too.
the end credits are fun.
Yeah,
But to me, people are like, "Oh, Eraserhead's like a dream," and Mulholland, like,
no, this felt like
this is a dream.
This
Actually,
felt.
This movie
There-
feels like what it feels like to actually.
There is
Yeah.
no movie in the world
My-
that captures what it's
my-
like to be in a dream than this
Yeah.
movie.
My Letterboxd review said it felt like a 3-hour
Yeah,
Curb episode
What does that
on
mean?
meth.
I saw that. What do you mean by the curb?
Curb Enthusiasm, like early seasons use like old digital cameras. It's in.
Oh,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
okay.
It was like it
I
was.
thought you meant like the structure and.
But the
themes of
structure is
Curb.
also like they're in Hollywood. They're doing
Yeah.
scripts. Like I don't know. A lot of like Curb Enthusiasm
Yeah.
episodes have like, oh, here's the script, David. We're working on
I-
what's the new season? He's working on young Larry.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah.
I just can't get over that ketchup scene. I don't know why. Oh, that's ingrained in my memory. Because that's a dream you would have. It's like, what even is this? There's a thing with that girl in the room. It starts with her and ends with her. And like Laura Dern like
It
saves
ends-
her in a way. The
Yeah.
ethereal music. I feel like that it gets like again, you feel something and you can't explain it. You don't know why.
His movies often tend to end off with the
This-
like. I'm
but-
trying to figure out a better way to describe it, but it's kind of like a cinematic like orgasm or something like
What?
that. It's just like a
Inland
build up
Empire?
of like
Yeah.
like and then a
Yeah.
release and then the movie's over.
Yeah.
And he tends to do that stuff with all,
Well, it
all his
feels
movies
like-
really.
I was saying that
Because like Blue Velvet ends pretty similarly with the the spinning hat
Yeah,
and the godly music, and Mulholland Drive too. Lost Highways probably one of the only exceptions.
Mhm.
When I said it kind of ended abruptly where he's just like tweaking while he's driving from
With
the cops.
this, I was saying that Mulholland Drive feels like all of his work, but like the best of it.
Yeah.
This feels like that, but just in the more abstract, in
weird
an
way.
abstract way.
Well,
Yeah.
Twin Peaks season 3. I know I keep talking about
Also
it. but
does that.
It does
yeah.
that too.
It makes all. You know what? I'm glad I watched this as a trilogy because it really works. As a
Yeah, it does,
trilogy.
yeah.
And like this, I'm glad I watched this last too because.
Well, yeah, this would be.
Yeah.
You have to watch what
Yeah,
you
you
watched
have
in the correct order.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
With this movie,
I didn't feel the length of this one for some reason.
this one's long.
I
I
felt the
know
length of
it's
it.
3 hours
I
long.
remember.
Yeah, Lily.
It's
I
3
think
hours
Lily
long. I was
was
really
struggling to get
intimidating.
through
I
this,
was I like ever since I watched Mulholland Drive and then Lost
So you
Highway.
got used to it?
I got used to it,
Okay.
but
Was this?
this was easy. This was a breeze for some reason.
I think this is a drug case.
I would give it a drug cabinet. This is
I would give it a drug cabinet too, but also I would
Yeah.
give it. Yeah, I would give it a drug cabinet.
Again, I'll put it in glass shelf because I feel like the only one that like you can kind of argue that shouldn't be there is Lost Highway. Again, I put it there because just I'm clearly biased.
yeah.
And Inland Empire is like, come on, what movies like this?
And this is one of his like least appreciated movies, and I think it shouldn't be because
Well-
it's so influential. Like
why do
clearly
you
so
think
influential.
why do you think it's least appreciated?
I can see why.
Yeah. When people
Yeah,
say
but-
Eraserhead's weird, come on, it's not even close to
Yeah,
this movie.
I see it as no. It's the presentation that it's like on a digital camera,
Yeah, but also just like an Odyssey.
and I'm really curious how it looks in 4K.
Yeah.
I'm really curious how I watched it. It's shot in 480p. It's not an HD movie.
no.
This would be
So
a
it's
good
not
mid-on.
even.
Well, he really liked filming this because I heard
It was like a little video camera.
it was
right?
like a very like freeing. He was able to
Yeah.
just do whatever he wanted because you were just shooting on this little video camera.
I mean, dude, making movies it's difficult, and
He was like, let me just leave the studio system and
Yeah,
all this, and let me just like
completely.
make
It's
this
like
like
complete-
crazy thing.
like it's not quite Dogma at 95,
Mhm.
but it is like that type of spirit, that
Yeah.
type of like energy. Like I'm making a real low budget
Yeah.
film, even though I have like these big names like Laura Dern,
So
Terry
I'm
Crews.
curious of what you would like rank
Rank
these.
it? Rank this?
Rank these two.
You want me to rank all the Lynch films I've seen?
Yeah, I want to do my ranking too, and Lily, you can do it.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Lost Highway. This is last
Okay.
the best. Lost Highway, Blue Velvet, Inland Empire, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead. There you go.
All right, Lily, you go. Let me write this down.
Mine would be Lost Highway, then Inland Empire, then Mulholland Drive, then Blue Velvet, then Eraserhead.
So if we're just talking strictly as movies, so he has 10 movies, but I've only seen 9. So okay, 9. So I'll go 9 down. So 9 is Dune, 8 Wild at Heart, 7 The Elephant Man, 5 Inland Empire, 4 would be the Twin Peaks movie, 3 would be Blue Velvet, 2 Eraserhead, 1 Mulholland Drive.
What would you rate? What's the monkey short that he did?
Oh,
What
what
would
did
Jack
Jack
do?
do? That's
What
his
would
best.
Jack
That's
do?
the first, actually. I take it.
Yeah.
But as far as Twin Peaks goes, again, I think
At least he has a Netflix original on his belt.
That's
Never
true.
He
think
does.
never think
You
David
never
Lynch would have
expect
that. I got a few questions for you though.
Mhm.
Lynch questions. Name any artist that you would love him to direct a music video for.
well, he has directed music videos for certain people. Like he
Yeah,
did,
that's what I mean. But like,
did
what
Nine Inch Nails
who,
stuff.
who he hasn't done yet?
I would be
I heard he
pretty interested to see
yeah.
him do a Lana Del Rey music video for some reason. Because
That's
I
actually a good one.
I saw that she's like a pretty big fan of his.
Mhm.
And that she's like referenced him in like a video or two of hers before, and I feel like I could see that being cool.
Would
I
be
was
a cool,
I was thinking about like Beach House and all the dreamy, really
Yeah,
dreamy
Beach
stuff.
House.
I don't know if
Something
it,
dreamy,
I don't
like-
know if it would fit
I don't-
though.
I
Lana
would
Del
fit,
Rey
it
has
would
like kind
fit.
of a West like
Weird,
yeah.
She has like that weird like Western kind of like
like
thing,
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying,
Americana.
Americana. That's why I
so
feel like
think
she
it
would work.
But like
like-
in something like Beach House, I don't know.
Like
Well,
doo wop.
like,
She's like
she-
something a little doo wop about her. Like
Well,
the
yeah,
way she has like that
fits the
50s look.
lineage of
Yeah.
like Roy Orbison or Chris Isaac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not
So
like yeah.
I feel like Lana really embodies like the archetype of a Lynch character.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
If he had to direct a sequel to any movie or a franchise, what franchise would you want him to take over?
Oh, like not his own?
Yeah, kind of like a Dune situation, but like he
Mm.
could do whatever the hell he wanted with it.
The Deuce.
The Deuce. David Lynch's The Deuce.
No, just like picture like
All those hookers are ending up dead
Yeah.
by the end. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I wanted to see his Return of the Jedi so badly. I mean, I know George Lucas would have like put his hands all in that shit, but
David
still,
Lynch's Mr. Robot.
I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, it's a
I
really
gotta
good
watch
show,
that.
but I don't know. All right,
Pick a movie. Pick a movie,
All right,
Lily.
I got one.
Pick a movie.
Movie?
Yeah.
David Lynch's Paddington 3.
That would hit.
Ooh, that would hit.
That would hit. Oh, I got one.
What's that?
You remember the Cat in the Hat, Mike Myers?
Oh, that would
Oh,
hit.
wow,
That
that's a
would
good
hit.
one.
David
Have you ever
Lynch's
been on
Cat
the-
in the Hat.
Have you been on the ride?
Wait, that would be
in-
such a shit
the
post.
ride in Universal?
No, it would be so good. What?
The ride in Universal.
The ride in
Cat the
Universal
Hat.
Actually,
is
kind of
It's
creepy.
like creepy.
is creepy, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like mid. Not gonna lie.
I think it's kind of creepy.
I liked it. I want to see David Lynch's Twilight.
Oh my god, that would be. There's already
That could be
there's
a
another
thing.
thing with like David Lynch. He likes trucks with logs,
Oh yeah.
and you already have the truck with the log in
He already has that,
Twilight.
like Seattle.
Twin Peaks is in the same location.
Yeah, that's my
as
movie.
Twilight.
That's my movie that I would pick.
Twilight.
So James would be like a creepy like Frank Booth type character.
Wait,
Like
Twilight-
he's already like a little bit like creepy
wait,
and like
who's James from
he's
Twilight?
the one who like he like comes for Bella and he wants to like get her and he's like mad at Edward and they have like a duel at the end.
Oh,
And he's
is
like already like
is he
violating
the
and,
really
like, creepy.
pale guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Okay.
already
No,
weird.
you're thinking of Carlisle.
Oh,
You're thinking of
okay.
No,
Carlisle.
Carlisle's the dad.
No, I'm thinking of the guy with the creepy face.
No, that's the Volturi.
Oh,
We should do a Twilight episode.
Yeah, we should.
there's how many Twilight movies?
This 5.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Lynch episode, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Lily, Justin, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Boo. And if you can believe it, the episode's over once again.